Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, "My wife just revealed to me that she kissed another dude." So, the girl and I met in 2008 and fell in love really quick. We met in mid-June of that year, and by July we had started dating, and by late September we had dropped the L-bomb. Things went exceedingly well those first few years, but midway through year 3 there was a lot more bickering and tension. I didn't have much direction in my job. I was around 25 at the time and she was 23, and I was still doing a lot of freelance video editing and contract work for contacts I'd made right out of college. It wasn't particularly well-paying or consistent. I think that concerned her, providing we were looking at having a future together, but I think her main issue was I was never quite as social as her. Didn't like going out dancing and stuff and would always prefer a low-key evening. Admittedly, I could be pretty lame and unspontaneous, so I get that. From my side, I kinda felt she was a little possessive at times, and she made me feel guilty any time I'd do something without her, like go hang out with my friends. Even though it was not very often and was mostly just a bunch of dudes playing video games in someone's basement. It was also around this time that we were working on something on her laptop. We're both musicians and tried countless times to write songs together. And I noticed as she was checking her email, she had a folder labeled with the name of her ex-boyfriend. None of them were recent emails, at least to my knowledge, but just ones she'd saved from the relationship. Now he was her first real love, and they'd been together for at least couple of years and had a long-distance thing, so I understood why he was important to her, but I was obviously bothered by the fact that she was holding onto these emails. I confronted her about it. We didn't have a huge blowout over it, but had a long discussion where she assured me I had nothing to worry about, and I begrudgingly accepted that. I'm not sure if she deleted the emails after that. Just under a year or so later, I felt the tension reach a boiling point and realized I wasn't making her happy. It was sort of a wake-up call to me, and I decided to take her on a picnic and let her know I wanted to try to make things better. Apparently, she had something she needed to tell me that day as well. The arguing and tension had gotten to be too much, and she broke up with me. This was late 2012. Over the next few months, I tried to limit communication with her because I was pretty heartbroken, but she would pop up every now and then. 2 or 3 months after the breakup, I saw that she had traveled to BC, where her ex lived. A month or two after that, she called me after a show I did out of town that she had said she was going to attend, which obviously she didn't. I flat out asked her if she had been speaking to her ex before she ended her relationship with me, which she confirmed she had been. But after a month or two with him, she realized, surprise, surprise, that he had no interest in long-term commitment or marriage, which is what drove them apart in the first place. At this point, I advised her not to contact me, and she obliged for the better part of the next year and a half. We'd both been dating around and were both kind of fed up with it. By this point, I had gotten a decent job and had moved out to a condo downtown. All within a few months of the breakup, funny enough. We had a few innocent conversations and things started to escalate. We started sleeping together for a few weeks, and I lamented the fact that we had no real direction in the relationship. She didn't want to label it. I wanted to skip the bullcrap and just get back together. She eventually relented, and we got back together in late 2014. The relationship flourished. We were older, more mature, financially stable, everything was great. I had moved back home to start saving for a place we could buy together, and by July 2017 we were married and living together. Last month, right around the time of our 2-year wedding anniversary, we were driving home from somewhere and she told me she had a confession to make. An old friend of hers from middle school who lived in the US, we're in Canada, had come to visit in March, and apparently while they were hanging out, he kissed her. According to her, the kiss didn't last more than a couple of seconds until she stopped it, but there were mutual, unresolved feelings there between the two of them. This happened in March, and she told me in July. We spoke at length about it that night and I stayed in the guest bedroom for a few days. I haven't been able to wear my wedding ring or reciprocate the words, "I love you," since finding out. I agreed to go with her to see a therapist she'd been seeing who was already made aware of the incident. In therapy, I pointed out that it was hard for me to trust her because of the emerging pattern of this behavior, acting on unresolved feelings with someone else despite being in a committed relationship. She mentioned how hesitant she was when we got back together, which was sort of upsetting and another red flag. The therapist told us to go away and reflect and come back with our bottom line. Do we want to work to fix it, or are we going to end the marriage? I have been ping-ponging back and forth between those two thoughts for the better part of the month, and honestly, I think I'm leaning toward filing for legal separation and starting the process of ending this marriage, but there's a lot of history here and I worry that I'm being too rash and maybe not doing enough self-evaluation. A user in the comments said, "Did you even know she had been in contact with the middle school friend? That they met in person? It sounds to me like this woman has never wanted the type of relationship that her partners have always insisted on. She has always settled and made the commitments necessary to remain with those she cares about but is unable to find the satisfaction in a committed and monogamous relationship. At least not yet. At this point I don't think I'd be able to trust it won't happen again." Another user said, "Unfortunately, I think she may be the type that constantly craves feeling desired by someone else but can't be alone. It's about the rush and the attention. Loving the excitement of a new guy, but no longer interested in the guy when the butterflies in the stomach turn into mundane fights about money and morning breath and crap. People like this are hard to keep satisfied. They are always looking for something more even when nothing is really wrong." The next one is titled, Update. It's been about a year since my wife, 31F, revealed she cheated on me, 33 meters, and the feelings of mistrust haven't gone away despite us working on our relationship. So, about a year ago my wife revealed to me that she kissed another guy. I was on the verge of ending things and decided to seek guidance from a therapist one-on-one, and also, we saw the therapist together as a couple. I also decided to seek guidance from strangers on the internet, original post above. The therapy and our open conversations with one another were helpful. It seemed like we were communicating better, and things could be repaired slowly. And so that's what we tried to do over the course of the next year. My friends were already not her biggest fans based on how our first relationship ended, sort of similar with her going after an old flame and me finding out about it after we had broken up. I had told one of my friends about the kiss, and apparently that news has since spread, so my friends' scrutiny of her has only gotten stronger. Recently, hearing how they feel about her has dug open some of the old wounds from a year ago when she first revealed that she cheated. I started reflecting and realizing that I'm still unhappy. She's a pretty needy person due to a lot of circumstances outside of her control. Fibromyalgia, issues with anxiety, etc. But I find myself less inclined to oblige with her needs because of the underlying resentment around what she did. There's this underlying thought of, why take care of someone who betrayed my trust? On top of all of this, I just quit my job, which I absolutely hated, to go back to school. We live together, and I know this is going to be an emotional and financial strain over the next couple of years. To be honest, pride is probably a factor for me here because I'm so not used to being the vulnerable one in the relationship, and that's about to happen in full force. This worries me for a few reasons. For one, I'm worried it's only going to further strain our relationship as I'm going to be laser focused on my studies while still trying to make time for us as a couple and for me as a person. I feel like that's going to further result in her needs not being met and I'll be perceived as neglectful. The other thing is, I just don't know if I'm ready to rely on her during this huge shift in my life. That requires placing a lot of trust in someone who has already betrayed my trust a couple of times. She has stated that she is going to take care of me while I pursue school and a new career and that we'll make it work, but I just don't know if I can rely on her. I do care about her a great deal and I'm so afraid to throw another grenade into the midst of my life that's already mid-explosion. Is there a way to salvage this? Us parting ways would likely mean selling our house, moving back in with our folks. catching a lot of crap from our families and a whole bunch of other things that will be tough to deal with on top of the already difficult situation I've put myself in. Just looking for some guidance here. The next one is titled, GF Emotionally Cheated on Me. So, I've been physically and emotionally cheated on before by my ex-wife, so I have been hypersensitive to changes with any romantic partner. I noticed some changes in the last month after my GF of 3 years started playing a new game. Some backstory. We got pregnant about 4 months into our relationship. Once that happened, our sex life went to nothing. After the baby, it was over a year before we could have sex without her complaining. This along with the zero foreplay I'm allowed, because she doesn't want to be teased, and all the stress of life have caused me to have zero sex drive now. For the past year, I've been out of work. Interviews and rejection have been my life lately. That along with the fact that my GF is not a great caregiver has left me down and depressed. We've had arguments because I no longer give her the attention she wants. I can't talk to her about what's going on with me because she gets defensive and manipulative to where it's my fault again. I started snooping and still have a VAR and found out she's been talking to some dude in another country. He's been giving her all this attention and she's been ignoring any attempts at communicating since. I told her today that I know because she has been denying things when I would ask her and lying to my face. I told her that I understand her feeling that led to cheating, but the cheating itself is a major issue. She doesn't get the attention she wants from me. I told her I could promise to work on those issues, but she says she wants a guarantee that those issues will get fixed before she can choose me and put 100% into the relationship. We've tried working before, but it seems to get worse because I never felt heard, and the underlying issues are just getting worse. How do I get the point across that I need 100% from her before I can work on the relationship? I don't want to end up putting in this work if she's just going to go behind my back again. I know she's deflecting, and I still need her to be completely honest. I don't know if that will happen though. Sorry for the rambling, and I'll try to answer follow-up questions. A user in the comments said, "She's a cheater. She tells you what she wants from you before she will give 100% to the relationship? Do yourself a favor. Go get her purse, reach into it and take your balls back. Then grow a backbone and kick her out. Get a lawyer and work on a custody agreement." Another user said, "Your girlfriend, mother of your baby, is a narcissist in every sense of the word. She is using your past against you. You told her that you have been cheated on. This is her ace in the hole she is using against you. If she won't agree to reconcile, then leave her. What is the point in staying with an emotionally deadbeat woman? It takes two people giving 100% to make a relationship work. Let her go to the other guy. The only thing he wants is what between her legs. That is why he is giving her all the attention. Call her bluff. Tell her to leave, the other guy will take care of the baby." The next one is titled, Update for the Emotional Cheating Story. First off, why do cheaters always think they are special? Every single cheater does the same thing. But when you call them out on it, they act so surprised that you could predict what they are doing. So, I posted about a week ago how my GF would not agree to reconcile if I couldn't guarantee her happiness. I told her flatly that it wasn't going to happen if she didn't change her tune. She decided that I was the controlling one and left for her mom's house. She goes from hating to loving her mom in an instant, both narcissistic people by the way. Anyways, she's gone for a bit, and we get to talking about our son together. I tell her that I don't like splitting 50-50 since I've been the primary caregiver. I also don't think her mom's house is a good place for him to be. It's got a bunch of untrained dogs and is cluttered and smells terrible. I also don't want the mom to be raising my son because I know my GF isn't responsible enough. We started talking custody agreement and this sent her over the edge. She texted me later that she was coming home and that she ended it with the other guy. Now, I don't believe a word she is saying. First, she's mad at me because I told our friends what she did. Second, I told her that I needed to hear her call him and ended on the spot using her own words the night it first came out. She of course deleted all conversations so I couldn't verify. Anyways, she's gotten a little better at hiding stuff but still not good enough. I've found convos where she's told some people how trash I am and how she didn't do that much. I also have found that she's been Snapchatting the original guy still. She's also not acting remorseful at all. So, I've got a lawyer meeting for later today and I'm just going to keep playing the dunce and collecting evidence. I want to confront her so bad, but it wouldn't help me at all. She would just shift blame and rationalize everything anyways. Wish me luck and patience to keep from going off on this cheater. The next one is titled, Wife admitted that she cheated and is now begging me to forgive her. So, this is all pretty fresh. Wife of 5 years been together 13 caught her cheating first week of May. Found DMs that painted the entire picture. Still burns just thinking about it. She started talking to this guy beginning of March and towards the end of March is when I started to notice the change. Social media selfies were extra. Going out to the same club per bar more and more. And this is where she met this guy. She would go with girlfriends and her mom and sisters, so at first I didn't think too much of it, but once she started coordinating going to this place which is not like her at all, I knew something was up. I would randomly try to check her phone, but it had a complex password, etc. All the red flags. Anyways, a week before I caught her, I called her out on the rift between us because I'm sure all of you have known how a cheater acts, and she said she thinks we need to separate because we are too different blah blah blah. So, I agree and tell her if she wants to separate, she needs to leave, and we agree that I will give her time to find a place since I have always been the provider. We do have an 11-year-old son, so she has chosen not to work for a long time. Fast forward a week, I find the DMs and confront her through text. All she says is she's coming to get her stuff when I'm at work. So, she moves in with her sister, no job, no money. We do agree that no matter what we would share 50-50 with our son. May 4th was the day I caught her. There was zero contact with her the first 2 weeks. Her own sister and mom were disgusted with her and trying to be a shoulder to lean on through the hell I was going through. I couldn't sleep, eat, I run my own company, so trying to hold it together has taken every ounce out of me to keep this moving. Knowing that she threw away everything for a guy at the club makes me sick. What she is putting our son through for her own selfish desires. I have not been a perfect husband by all means, but I have been a faithful provider for our family the entire time. And to rub salt in the wound, she starts going on social media posting lies that we have been separated for a long time and we are going through a divorce and that she met someone else. But everyone close to me knows the truth. I did start the divorce process through mediation because at least until now we agree on almost everything, but I'm sure that will change. After a month of hell and no contact, me just avoiding knowing anything about her and her new life, I started to pick myself back up and kinda look forward to the future at least for a few moments at a time. Then a week ago she sends a half-ass apology text, first time admitting she was wrong. I ignored it and planned on not responding to anything that didn't have to do with our son or divorce. A few more the next day saying she wanted to talk and how sorry she was. Then the following day about 100 voice texts and texts begging me to forgive her and take her back, and how she was blinded and will do anything to make it right. Turns out she got a DUI a few nights before, and I guess without me to hold her hand her world is crumbling around her now all of a sudden. I always believed in karma and that it would catch up to her, but I seriously didn't expect it to happen this fast. And for a brief moment I felt a small victory for once after the month I just went through. But that faded fast, and for the past week and small progress I made has started all over again. I'm staying strong, but there's that little devil in the back of my mind tempting me to see if she is willing to change, but trust me, I know it's just a desperation attempt by her. This is ongoing now. She keeps saying that she will show me that she can be a better person, but I was better off when she was just living her new best life. Sorry for the book, and a terribly written one at that. There are so many more details that make it even more ducked up. But this is the summary, but thanks for anyone that reads. This sub has been a place where I don't feel alone. Just reread what I posted and wanted to add a few more details. When I found the DMs, she had been sleeping with this guy for at least 3 weeks before she asked for the separation, saying she was going to the store or to her sister's house when she was going to see him. I would take my son to practice and go to the gym, kinda my routine after work. She would use that time to sneak around. And that's only what I know because SC and Instagram were how they communicated, so God only knows how many other times she lied with SC messages that delete. And also, when she first talked about separation, divorce, she said she didn't want anything house etc. Just 5,050 with our son. But the day before I found the DMS I reiterated the fact that we cannot live together and be separated through text. She blew up and told me that this was her home and would not leave, and legally if anyone needed to leave it was me. Lol, guess she read something on Instagram. Thank God I found her old phone the next day and was able to log into her social media because she uses the same password for everything. I could not imagine what kind of hell she would have put me through without me having concrete evidence. A user in the comments said, "She had the chance to be the better person in May, but instead she showed you how little she cares about you and your son. I say you stick with no contact as much as you can and keep moving forward. FYI, my ex-wife pulled the same thing on me. Begged me to come back and used the kids to get me to come back, only to find out she hadn't paid any of the bills and only wanted me back because the electric, water and internet were about to be shut off. I paid the bills when I moved back in, and less than a month later, she was cheating on me again. Don't make the same mistake I made." Another user said, "Keep your head up, keep moving forward. She has made her choices, willingly and deliberately, to be in the position she is now in. If you haven't done it already, lawyer up. Get this show on the road, get the evidence you need to prove infidelity. If you're in a no-fault state, you're probably going to be taken to the cleaners money-wise. If you have a joint bank account, take out half so she can't empty it all in a night. Get a counselor for you and your child. You're going to have to make time to get your head right, and you're going to have to protect your child as much as you can from using poor emotional outlets in this extremely stressful time. It will get better, don't let her bring you back down to her level. If she wants to go out and break her vows by banging strangers from the club, that's on her. If she wants to break the law by getting drunk and driving, that's again, her poor choice. If she had a problem with how the marriage was going, there were dozens of acceptable ways to go about expressing those. Infidelity isn't one of them. Good luck. Most of us have been there, and all of us will listen. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.